friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and as you can see, I am not in my normal location. I am so sorry for the lighting. I did my best with what I have, but I am not at my house. I am up at my grandparents' house in the Adirondack Mountains for the 4th of July, visiting family and everything, and I didn't get a chance to film before I left, so I had to bring my camera with me, but I obviously couldn't bring my whole setup. I don't have my lights with me or anything like that, so I'm doing the best with what I've got. I literally have like my grandfather's like giant light here that he uses to read things here, and then the light that's on in the room, so there's some shadows. I'm sorry about that, but it's what we've got. So I am going to do a recommendations video for you today, and I hope that you can just get past the lighting because it's what we've got. But today we're doing a recommendation video for a trope that's actually not my favorite. It is one that I know is very loved. I know it's a lot of people's favorites, but it's not my favorite. But I have read some really amazing books recently that have this trope, and that is friends to lovers. I get very frustrated by friends to lovers in certain books, but I have read quite a few in the last 6 months that I have really enjoyed and want to recommend for you. So I'm going to get right into it, and I hope you find one that you enjoy. So the first one that I have to recommend to you is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is book 3 in the Chestnut Springs series. You don't necessarily have to read these books in order. I would recommend it because the whole series is fantastic, but this is book 3. It is a friends lovers romance between a hero who is a hockey player and a heroine whose family has a lot of money. So they have been friends for a very long time. The heroine's cousins sort of adopted the hero. His name is Jasper, and the heroine's cousins, who she goes to visit during the summer, their family kind of adopted Jasper. His family was not great. They mistreated him, all sorts of things. So he's been basically taken in by his friends who are the heroine's cousins, and they become very close as children. They play together every time the heroine is visiting, and they're very close, and they become best friends. This book takes place years later when the heroine is actually engaged to be married, and the hero is going to her wedding, but the heroine ends up actually running away from her wedding, calling off of her wedding because the guy that she was supposed to marry is an asshole, and it ends up being a romance between Jasper and the heroine, whose name I'm so sorry I can't remember. But it is such a cute friends to lovers romance. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It ends up being sort of like a road trip forced proximity situation between them, because they are driving to go visit somebody, or Jasper is driving to go visit somebody, and the heroine tags along, and so they're in the car together for long periods of time. They are sharing hotel rooms, and they end up having to be forced together and have to talk about all the emotions and feelings that they've had for so long. The hero gets to talk to the heroine about the feelings that he had towards the idea of her marrying somebody else, and it ends up with them falling in love, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so cute, and I would highly recommend it. The next one that I have is actually an MM romance, and that is Don't You Dare by C.E. Ricky. This one is a college romance, and these two heroes have been best friends for a very long time, and when they go to college they decide to room together, and they have been rooming together for a long time. I'm really sorry if you can hear the birds. Like I said, I'm in the mountains, there's trees outside, there are birds chirping very loudly. So, like I was saying, this one takes place in college. I believe they're juniors in college, and both heroes are best friends and they're living together, but they have this game that they played since they were in high school called Don't You Dare, which is basically where if somebody says Don't You Dare and they say something, they have to do it, basically. It's like Truth or Dare, but with no truth. It's just dare. But they take it very seriously. And so when they were in high school, they were playing this at a party one time, and somebody else dared the two of them to kiss each other. One of the heroes thought nothing of it. After the kiss, he was like, okay, whatever. The other hero had like a full reaction to it and realized how much he enjoyed it. And so now, years later, during present day, when they are in college together, this don't you dare game comes up again, and they're dared to kiss each other again, and the hero who enjoyed it the first time or had a reaction to it the first time refuses, and he freaks out, and then he ends up going back to their dorm and telling the other hero, his best friend, how this affected him when he was younger and how he thinks that he might be gay. And so the best friend is like, I don't want you testing your feelings with some random guy, you're going to experiment with me. And so they start experimenting together and they end up falling in love. I really loved this. I thought it was so fun. There was a lot of emotion in this and a lot of like angsty feelings because it was very much the bisexual awakening or gay awakening of what am I doing? Is this right? Am I going to be risking my friendship? Do I want, one of the heroes is a baseball player, so the implications of being gay and being a athlete. So there was a lot of things going into this story, but I ended up really enjoying it and would, again, really recommend it. Next one that I have is Echoes of You by Catherine Cowles. This is book 2 in her most recent series. I can't remember what the series name is. The first one is Whispers of You, and this is the second one, Echoes of You. And this one is a romance where the hero and the heroine were best friends when they were young. The heroine has a horrible home life. Her father was abusive and her mother didn't care, and the heroine would always run and escape to the hero's house, and they were absolute best friends. Then it's many years later and the heroine had moved away, and she was actually in a relationship with another guy, but she ends up coming home to her small town and seeing the hero again. Like, they had remained friends and sort of talked on the phone, but it wasn't exactly the same because they were so far away from each other. But the hero ends up finding out that the heroine's boyfriend for the past couple of years has been abusive, and he was very violent towards the heroine. And the hero, it is very much a who hurt you, I will protect you, how dare that person touch you, I will avenge you, all sorts of things like that, where the hero is so protective of the heroine. He's so distraught when he finds out what happens to her and is like, basically like, nothing will ever happen to you again. I will save you, I will protect you. And they end up living together because the hero refuses to leave the heroine alone and unprotected. He is so focused on keeping her safe, but because they are together and forced proximitying, the feelings that the hero has had kind of resurface, become even more, and the heroine and the hero end up falling in love. And it was so cute. I loved how overprotective the hero was, and not in like there's a line for overprotectiveness, like sometimes it can get like, oh my god, let her live. But this I really liked, especially because the heroine was actually in danger. Like, there were people like coming after her. Her parents and her ex were actually a threat, and so I liked that the hero was willing to do anything to protect her, and it was really good. The next one that I have is Broken by the Horde King by Zoe Draven. This is actually an alien romance. It is book 5, I think, in the Horde Kings of Drakkar series. This one, the heroine and the hero were friends as children, but the heroine was always very much in love with the hero. Like, they had a really good friendship, but the heroine was very attracted to the hero. She wanted to be with him. The hero is I can't remember what the alien species is called, but he is an alien. He is not a human, but the heroine is a human, but she was adopted by the alien tribe when she was young, so she grew up with them. Her family is the aliens, like, she grew up with them and everything. But the hero and the heroine have been best friends when they were younger, and then the heroine one day puts herself out there and the hero rejects her. And the heroine is so upset by this, and just like absolutely distraught. And so the hero ends up leaving and going away, and he ends up becoming a horde king. So he goes to the capital to compete in like the trials to be a horde king, and the heroine ends up training to be a medical person. And so when the hero comes back after achieving his goal of being a horde king, he comes back and he wants the heroine to join his horde as his med person, and she ends up having to go because she wants to be a med person for a horde and she doesn't really have an opportunity where she is. And so she goes with him even though she's still upset with him. Those emotions are still there from when she was younger. Those feelings are still there. He used to be her best friend and she misses him, but she's angry at him, but she wants to be a med person, and the hero is like, I want to be with her. He has gotten to a point where he is ready and he wants to be with her. And so it's him trying to kind of win her back and get her feelings going again. And I really, really loved this one. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was so freaking good. Then the next one that I have is Give Me More by Sarah Kate. So this one is actually a very interesting one because this one is a romance between a married couple and their best friend. So one of the heroes is, I have to look up their names for this one because it'll be too many pronouns for me to try and explain this book without the names. Okay, so Hunter and Isabel are the married couple. Hunter and Isabel are in love, they're married, they love each other, they have a very happy marriage. Drake is Hunter's best friend, but because Hunter and Isabel are married, Drake has become friends with both of them. They're very, very close, very good friends, and Hunter owns part of the Salacious Players Club, which is a sex club, and Drake works there. He is the like construction manager guy, and so the 3 of them are on this trip to visit other sex clubs to see what they want to add to their Salacious Players Club. And while they're on this trip, Hunter decides that he wants to try cuckolding. So he wants to watch his wife be with his best friend. And it ends up being a poly dynamic of them, but this book was so much more emotional than I was anticipating. Hunter and Drake end up having to work through some internalized homophobia and their feelings towards each other that are a little bit unexpected. They didn't anticipate that happening. And I really, really loved the way that the romance happened between each of them and with all 3 of them. So I felt a romance between Hunter and Drake. I felt a romance between Drake and Isabel. I felt a romance between Hunter and Isabel. And then you had the 3 dynamic of them all being in love with each other. So I didn't feel like anyone was left out. I felt like it was all very cohesive. They were a unit. And I loved the emotional struggles of getting there, because a romance with 2 people is hard. A romance with 3 people is even more difficult. You have more feelings, more emotions, and getting it to work out together, that HEA is so satisfying because there is that much more struggle and difficulty going into it. So I ended up absolutely adoring this book. I gave it 5 stars. It's so good. It's so spicy. So if you want something that's like Friends to Lovers but like spicy, would highly, highly recommend this book. It is so freaking good. I think that's actually going to be the last one that I do. I do have a couple of more, but I don't want this video to get super long, and I need to go and meet my family in a couple of minutes. So I think that's going to be it for this video. So please let me know if you enjoyed it. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe, stick around so you can see more content from me. Let me know down in the comments what's your favorite Friends to Lovers that I should read. And I hope that you have the absolute best day. Bye.